I'm from Louisiana. I'm from Louisiana. I'm from Louisiana. I'm from Louisiana.
Hey, party people. It's your girl Candace. And tonight for dinner, I am having Yakamein. If you're not from Louisiana, or particularly southern Louisiana, you may have no idea what that is. I lived in New Orleans for 6 years. While I was in college, I went to Xavier University of New Orleans. I think I've said that before. Majoring in pharmacy. I wasn't a career student. My degree actually was a 6-year degree. So I lived there for 6 years. And honestly, I didn't taste Yakamein until after I graduated. It was some years ago that I finally tasted it at a festival in New Orleans, but I wasn't a huge fan. And there is a chef that I follow, Coop Can Cook. I believe her name is Brittany Cooper. And she had a recipe for it. So I was like, well, let me give it a try because all of her recipes are amazing. So if you have not, find her, follow her. She has Instagram and YouTube for sure. She may or may not have a Facebook. But I got this recipe from her. And of course, being a cook myself, not a chef. I say cook because I'm really not a chef. I don't always follow recipes to the letter. So I have made some modifications to my liking. And so the recipe that I'm going to do may not be the one that's on her site verbatim. But hers is a very good base. And you should start there. Yakamein, I think, originated in New Orleans. They call it Old Sober. It's like a hangover remedy. So a lot of times after you've been out partying all night in New Orleans, you can have some Yakamein in a good old styrofoam cup with a fork for the noodles. It's a beef noodle soup that has beef stew meat. You can put chicken in it. Some people put shrimp. I put beef, shrimp, and mushroom in mine. The addition of the mushroom adds to the fiber and cuts down on the calories. And it also bulks up the soup. So I do use sliced baby bella mushroom in mine. And then once it's all done cooking, then you serve it with angel hair pasta or spaghetti or whatever kind of noodle you want. Typically a small noodle like that. And then you garnish it with a boiled egg cut in half and green onions. So this takes a while to make, but it doesn't take long to prep. I let mine simmer because to me, sometimes stew meat can be tough. I let it simmer for about 2 hours so that meat can get tender and be really, really delicious when you do it. So, of course, this video won't be 2 hours, but you'll have all of the steps. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope I answered your questions. Yeah, I hope I didn't give any misinformation. If I did, forgive me. I'm just, telling y'all what I think. So let's get into it. Okay, so typically to start off any soup, you need a liquid base. So in this case, it's going to be water and the Better Than Bouillon roasted beef base. So that's going to be the base of our soup. Then we have the stew meat, lean stew meat. You need about 1 pound. I just put it all in here. You see some of these pieces are fairly large. So after I rinse it, I'll cut down some of these pieces into smaller pieces before I season it. And you put Worcestershire sauce. The star of this dish, in my opinion, is Russell's Original Blend. I said my stepdad owned a seasoning company, and this is it. Well, my bonus dad. He owned a seasoning company, and this is it. So it is amazing on vegetables, French fries, which potato is a vegetable, but I like mine on fries, on vegetables, and it is the star of this dish to me. I made it with Tony's once before, and it did not taste the same. So this is, to me, a definite staple in the dish. Onion powder, garlic powder. I'm gonna have whole baby bellas here. Usually I buy them already sliced because I'm all about convenience and saving time. but they didn't have any at Walmart, so I have the whole ones that I'm gonna have to slice myself. And then I always buy my shrimp peeled, deveined, tail off. If I can't get them peeled and deveined, tail off, I get the easy peel because that takes out the deveining step, and you gotta get that poop out those shrimp. Yuck. Then, of course, some good old Louisiana hot sauce, the noodles, the eggs, and the green onion for garnish. So let's get to prepping. Here's another angle so y'all can see about the size pieces that I cut it in. And the purpose of this is so that, also I cut that one into 3. The purpose of this is so that it can be evenly dispersed throughout the soup, so you don't have people that get all of the meat and then you're left with no meat. Okay, first things first, on a medium to low heat, you're gonna do 10 cups, 10 cups of water and 4 tablespoons of the better than bouillon beef. Roast beef base. Okay, and so while this is coming up to temperature, we're gonna go ahead on and season this stew meat that I have already cut into smaller pieces. Now, for the stew meat, I'm gonna use 2 tablespoons of Russell's, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, and 1/3 cup of this. I didn't say it because it's hard. Worcestershire, this stuff here. Lynn Parents is what I normally call it, but that's the brand name. They were out, so I had Heinz this time, but so that's what we're using. So let me tell you a little bit more about Russell's. It is a Black-owned, veteran-owned small business based here in Louisiana. He is my bonus dad. He married my mom and love us and claim us as his own. So I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of that. This is a 2 tablespoon measuring spoon. And then we're going to do, as I said, I mean, if you go a little over, this, you know, don't have to be super de-duper exact. Tablespoon of onion powder. Tablespoon of garlic powder. I don't know about y'all, but I like to put up my stuff as I go. That way, once it's in the pot, I won't have a big mess in the kitchen. And then 1/3 cup of this. Worcestershire sauce. Haha, might have said it right that time. So pour that in there. And then give it a stir. All right. That is all mixed up. So what I'm going to do now is crank the fire up because I'm about to add this meat in. and I want it to go ahead and come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'm going to add the meat and bring it to a simmer. So while I wait on that, we're going to let this sit for a minute. And I got to rinse and cut these puppies. I'm going to try to use my mandolin. The last time I used my mandolin, y'all, I damn near lost a finger. So I've been kind of scared of it ever since. But I'm going to try to use it to make cutting. This cabinet is a mess, as y'all can hear. I don't know if y'all can hear me. To make cutting this these mushrooms quicker. Looking for my guard for my finger and my hand. All right, you guys. So I was going to use my mandolin to slice these mushroom, but I got scared. Last time I used this thing, I never lost a finger. I was cutting potatoes and my guard slipped and I cut off like the tip of my finger and fingernail, but it all grew back. So it ain't that many. I'm just gonna use the knife because maybe another time, not today. So we're gonna put that back up. I have used it once since then, only once, and I think yeah, we're just gonna cut these puppies up with this knife because yeah, I need all my fingers. I work on computers, so I can't afford to be missing fingers or getting stitches or not having mobility in both of my hands. So I'm just gonna finish slicing these puppies up. And yeah, by now I think the water is coming to a boil. So we're gonna go back to the pot and add in the meat. It is definitely boiling, so I'm gonna turn that back to medium low. I'm gonna add in this meat. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it started. I don't wanna. There we go. Have a big plop and burn the crap out of myself. Now what I'm gonna do, y'all see how that good seasoning in there? We're gonna dip that bowl in there and roll it around in there so that we get all of our seasoning. Might have to do it twice. I'm one-handing it, so I'm gonna buy me a tripod eventually with a ring light and all of that, since I don't have no video help. One of my girlfriends offered to be my sous chef, but I decided last minute at work to do this. So I rinsed out the bowl with the water from the pot. All my good seasoning is in there except for that little bit that's on my thumb. We'll put that in there. All right, so we added the stew meat in. We're gonna give that thing a stir. And then we're gonna bring it to a little simmer. So I'm gonna leave it right here for a minute and I'll show you what I mean by the simmer. I'm gonna go ahead and put the top on it. And we're gonna let that roll for probably about an hour. All righty. Okay, guys, mushrooms have been cut, sliced, and this is what I mean by a little simmer. It's actually probably like a low boil is what some would call it. I'm gonna, it's on a 4. I'm gonna drop it down to about a 3. So you do that with the top on. So I'm gonna let that go for about an hour. Then I'm gonna add in the mushrooms. I'm gonna let them go for about 45 minutes. Or I might add them in at an hour and a half and then let them go for 30 minutes. And then the shrimp are the last thing. So for this recipe, I am using a 3140 count shrimp. For my gumbo, I used like 2125, a larger shrimp, just because I prefer that in my gumbo. For this soup, I'm gonna use this size so you can spread them throughout. And we're gonna, this is a 2-pound bag, so we're gonna use about probably a little over a pound of these in this recipe. So while that does its thing for 1 hour and 15, I'm gonna put these in some cold water so they can go ahead on and defrost. And then I'm gonna rinse and slice these green onion and put them in a container to use for garnishment. You garnish it as you eat it. So I put it all in a big container, and then I warm out my servings. I cook my noodles each time for each serving. So the noodles and the green onion and the egg is cooked when serving. So if you're gonna cook this ahead, you would cook it, let it cool, put it in the fridge, pull out a serving, which to me I have about 2 cups for each serving. So pull out your serving and boil your egg and your noodles, and once that's done, slice your egg, throw it in there, and garnish with a little fresh green onion. So that's what I'm about to do. Okay, now. Recipe recap. You start off, that's boiling 2 high, so I'm gonna turn it down to like a 1, put the top back on and see. But anyway, in this pot you start off with 10 cups of water, 4 tablespoons of better than bouillon beef base. Bring that to a boil. While that's coming up, you season your stewed meat with 2 tablespoons of Russell seasoning blend, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, and 1/3 cup of Worcestershire sauce. Mix that up. Once your stuff comes to a boil, drop that in, lower your fire, and then we want it to do like this, but with the top on. So I put it back on. I put it on 1. You may have to mess with that temperature for that. Then I have 16 ounces of sliced baby bella mushroom. And you're gonna have about a pound, a little over a pound, or whatever you like, of the shrimp. Then your garnish is gonna be the green onion. I'm gonna cut half of the pack, which is probably about a bunch. Sometimes I cut 1 stalk and use 1 stalk for garnish for each time I make it. But I find a time saver, since I'll be taking it for lunch next week, is to just slice them all, put it in a airtight container, and then just sprinkle my garnish. That way, that's 1 less step I have to do in preparation. I don't have to slice the onion. I can just boil my shrimp. All right, you guys, it has been 1.5 hours. That's how it's supposed to look. That's my little barrel I'm talking about. But I'm gonna crank it up because I'm about to add these mushroom. So there's that. And give that a stir. I'm just realizing when you buy a pound of whole mushroom and cut it yourself, you get a lot more mushroom, which that ain't a problem for me, but usually you have a little more stock. Hopefully they'll cook down. So we're gonna let this go for 30 minutes. And then we're gonna add the shrimp. Speaking of shrimp, I forgot a critical ingredient. How dare I? Zatarain shrimp and crab boil. You're gonna take about a tablespoon of this and put on the shrimp, and then add them to here. So, yeah. All right. And I guess the mushroom shrunk because it's not quite so many, but it's been about 30 minutes. We are now ready to add in the shrimp, which is one of the last steps. So yeah, here they are. And here is the crab boil. We're gonna put a tablespoon of that on here. All right, you guys, so if you notice the wardrobe change, I went and got myself ready for bed. There's a tablespoon. Put that on the shrimp. that all around. I guess if you could, you can put it on and let it sit for a few minutes. I wouldn't let it sit too long though. I always just toss them in the stuff and then pour everything into the pot. Like so, like this. I took a picture when I added the shrimp instead of a video, but they're in here. So I cranked up the heat a bit. The shrimp take really quickly to cook. You probably could just turn it off and be done with it. But I think I'm gonna let it come back up to a little low boil and then add in the hot sauce, and we are ready to. All right, guys, so we're ready for the last step. I usually put in half of a 6-ounce bottle of this, which is 3 ounces. This is a 12-ounce bottle, so it would be like a quarter of this, but and I usually eyeball it. But because this is a bigger bottle, I'm going to measure out a little less than a half a cup, and that would be that'll be 3 ounces roughly, because a half a cup is 4 ounces. There's that pharmacy coming back into play. And if y'all are looking from this side, we're gonna go up to the 100. Because 3 ounces is 90 mils. So there you go. We're gonna add this in. Y'all know I like to rinse my vessels. And the Yakamein is finished. Just have to boil your noodles and egg and garnish it with a little bit of that green onion. Let's eat. Alright, so wasn't gonna eat because it's late. However, I'm hungry. So this is my food scale. This goes with my fitness. I always weigh out my noodles. And my serving is 56 grams dry. So I always weigh them. Oh, I'm getting good. That's at 54. That is about a serving of noodles. And then I'll break them into more manageable pieces. And the package says to boil for 6 to 8 minutes uncovered. So my eggs I boil for 10 minutes. So I start the eggs. And these eggs are there's one for me tonight, and then I'm taking lunch for the girls at work tomorrow. So there's 4 for our lunches tomorrow. I'll get up and do our noodles in the morning. But anyway, so you start your eggs to boil. This is the way I do it. You start your eggs to boil. You let your eggs go for 4 minutes. Then you add your noodles in for the last 6 minutes. Or you let them go for 2 minutes, add your noodles in for the last 8 minutes if you want them, a little softer. But if I'm going to be reheating it later, I do the 6 minutes, because when you reheat it, they're going to cook a little bit more. So yeah, and if I'm doing it from cold, what I do, I normally warm it for 4 minutes. So I'll do my eggs, add my noodles in after 2 minutes. Then when there are 4 minutes left, start the microwave so I can put it all together and eat. So yeah, that's that. All right, you guys, it is time to eat. I got my favorite bowl, cup, soup dish, whatever, that my mommy gave me. Well, actually, she didn't just give me one, so I can't feel special. She gave everybody one some Christmases ago, but whatever. About to dish this thing up. This is my measuring ladle from Weight Watchers. It's a 1 cup ladle. We're gonna do 2 cups in here. Give it a stir. And 1 cup. Give it a stir. Let's try it again. Stir from the bottom. 2 cups. Give me a little more juice. All right. Here's my, that's already in there. This is my green onion I cut up. This little container is really airtight. I love it. It was a lump crab meat container from Albertsons. Gonna put the noodles in. This is the worst looking of the eggs, so I'll take that one. But you cut your egg in half. Put that in. Shake your little garnish on top. That might be a little too much. Get you a spoon. And bon appetit. I'm trying to get some of the goodness to come up from the bottom. The toppings. There they are. Look at that. What an egg. Oh, got a little shell left on it. There you go.
I'm from